Hello everyone, how are we doing? Samuel here, and just want to work you through my apps real quick. As you can see, I kind of have rendition in the browser presented to us already, and this is a refactor done for the JavaScript project with the focus with the Rails backend and obviously with a JavaScript Jet project. And I'm just gonna walk you through quickly from execution and point out some new things I added. You will notice my code to the right and the actual browser to my left. And the purpose of a couple of the notes I added in the function itself here is for you as a reader or that are looking at the code for the first time to get a glimpse and a little bit of understanding of what each function is doing in the code and how they're executing. So I'm gonna jump right into it. I already ran a Rails server. As you can see, right, this is Rails S, and their prompt is right into localhost 3000. And if you don't have an account, you could go ahead and sign up for one. Or if you already have one, just click on sign up, and it will give you a list of logins in the drop-down menu. And since Frank is a good one, I kind of logged in with Frank already, so I kind of just prompt that to work. So we logged in, and I'm going to take you from right here. And once I click flight, see all flights, I believe that was. See all flights, and it brings us right into the index of all flights. So in our controller, that would be right here. Let's look for that controller right here. They'll be right here. Listing out all our flights. So once we click on see all flights, it lists for us all the flights there's in our database that's already been created. Well, how's that happening? Very simple. If we were to backtrack here and we just and we take time to quickly inspect that see all flights, you notice that it has an ID of flight data. Well, that's what we want to happen. So if I jump right into the JSON file here, flight JSON, and you see right there flight data, and that's where all our data is stored. But before we even get to that point, if I take you back into the controller one more time, in the index, that's where all our flights are stored. That's really what we want access to. So the way we programmed this, I programmed it, was once click that see all flights, which has an ID of flight data, and obviously I give it a click event. This is what we call a listener event. And as you can see, I prevent event default, simply meaning I don't want that button to act normally as it would do. Then I use a fetch to get it in JSON, because if I jump right back, yes, I'm going back and forth between the controller and the JSON file. Even notice right in our index here under flight controller, we said flight.all, then we have a response to right here. And we're able to pass in a block of F. And what this does for us is we wanted to give us, is it an HTML rendition or JSON rendition? So either one that comes in here is useful. But in this case, we want a JSON rendition of this, and we render JSON at flight. So that comes right into here for us, and we use fetch flights.json because that's what we want to do. And just to even confirm this, if you go back in the browser and you look at the URL, you see we have that /flights right there. So we're rocking and rolling with that. Then we had a .done method to this, and that two things happen when you when you request. When you make a request with a fetch, okay, is it that it's going to be resolved or it's not? So in our case, because our API Ruby on Rails is something we coded from scratch, it's going to be it was resolved. So on that, we say .done response, and we give it a hash rocket, and we say response.json, because this is just pure data that nobody really understands, but we want it in a JSON format that will be understandable. And obviously, as you can tell, that JSON is a JavaScript method that we can use. Then we call .done one more time, and we want it to present to us in all flights, okay? So that is simply what is going on right here, line 15 and up so far. Now, let me jump ahead into line 16 here. And you even notice here I say flight data. Why would I put flight data here and put another flight data up here? Well, what is happening right here is my HTML, the method, and I'm sorry, the ID flight data here has stuff in it. It has data in it. It has information in it, but I need a way to wipe that claim so I could reuse it. Okay, so I said flight data.html and give it a string, and that way I can use that later on, and you see that here in a moment. Then moving forward, so all our flights are given back to us, and we want to iterate over it. And flights for each seems like a good, reasonable JavaScript, method that we could use. And this is again array of bunch of flights. We want to go over each flight at once. Each flight one at a time. So we have flight here, and we use an arrow function that we're using right here. Now, as we iterate over those flights, we want the opportunity to be able to, create a new flight. Well, we said let new flight equals new flight index. Then we pass in that flight that we got from our data here. Well, what the heck is a flight index? Come with me. I'm going to forward down here. So flight index is a JSON model object that I create here. It's almost like it's a constructor pretty much. And what it's supposed to do is, taking all those information, and in this case, our information of flight, which is passed in here as an argument. And we're going to say this.id, because what does our flights have in there? Okay, if we fast forward and click on this one more time, our flight has ID, inspection, foil, cost, destination. So we want to kind of target those, as well as, the user. Who the heck owns this account, right? So what this does for us is kind of create that object of flight for us. And the beauty of this is any other function that we have can use this model object at any time. So that's simply what is going on in here. Okay, then moving forward, we assign it to a new flight. Okay, then we say let's flight HTML equals new flight dot format index. So we already know what new flight is, which is what we get from here. That format index, and I'm gonna drop back down here, is a prototype. Okay, and we say flight index dot prototype, that format shell equals obviously function, and we said let's that flight HTML. This is the HTML version of this that will be presented and showed through the DOM. It's almost like formatting the information that we got. Okay, so and we return it here, so we have that flight HTML that we're going to use, and helping us simply not only structure but also put it in a presentable form that can be used later on. So we put that up here, and we said we assigned that to let flight HTML. Remember when we wiped off, or we wiped clean? I'm up here. When we wipe clean that flight data, which right now we could append. We wiped it clean right here. Now we could append our new flight newly formatted JSON information. Right, we could put it right onto the DOM, and we could use it, and we just append that to that flight data that is almost like an empty bucket that we wiped clean up here. Now we can use it down here and just add that information into it. Okay, so simply that's what is going on there, and the same thing is repeated for the show link. So if you literally click on a flight, it shows you, that flight, and it goes right back into the index for you to take a look at it. So I did the exact same thing, but also I created a form with this for those that are not satisfied with the flights you have in the data, and you want to kind of create your own, you want to create your own flight. So you have the opportunity to say CO flight. If you scroll below that, you say create a new flight. So you have a form here. You click on that, it's going to prompt you to create your own flight. Very simple. Obviously, every flight must pass inspection. We say $1,000, $1 million for $10,000 for gas. Destination, you're gonna pick something easy, say New York. Okay, departing time, we say 2 a.m. is a red eye flight. We have how many does it seat? Only 8 people, and we're gonna create that flight. Well, how the heck is that happening? Very simple. Same thing, just like we did up there, except this time we have a submit and we have a new flight. And where's that coming from? Here it is. Once we click on that new flight, okay, and if you are to inspect this right here and we inspect that, okay, if you notice right in there, our new flight, see, it goes right over that whole form. And that's what we wanted to trigger here. And we have that submit button, which is in this case, create flight. And that's what we are using right there in our first argument. Then our second argument, we put in the actual ID. Okay, and obviously we prevent the we prevent event prevent default. We use that, but now we have a serializer. So what a serializer help us does, or serializer help us serialize and simply extract out the information needed from our form. So, and we assign that to values. Without going into too much detail, you could read some documents on this, but simply you need to install a gem into your gem file to be able to use a serializer. And also as a serializer, it kind of help us to be picky on what the JSON information we want back, okay? So that's really good. Then we could I cancel log this just for my own sanity. But anyway, moving forward, we repeat almost the same thing. Anytime you're using JSON and you're making a request or whatever, is either you're going to be using a get or post. In this case, because we are going to be posting information from our form into the DOM, we're using post, and obviously we're using jQuery with this. Then moving forward, we say, okay, dot post, add flights. If you recollect back here, see we have that add flights and we wanted to make a new flight. So even if we go back and just say add flights, see, we are right back here, just as flight, okay? And remember, we assigned those values to our serialized information. So we had that here as the second argument. Then we call the dot done method on this is a JavaScript method, and we put a function and data. And again, this helps us to extract out the information we need, so we can use it later on. Moving forward, remember our new flights that we used up here, which is an ID. We need a way to wipe that clean, so we can use that one more time in the DOM, and that's what's going on right there. Same process, repeat after that point. New flight equals new flight dot index dot now. Instead of flights like we did up there, it's going to be data, because we got data back from our values that we use here. This could be called ice cream if you want, and then you just have to add ice cream down here as well. So new flight dot index, you already know what that's coming in from. Okay, new flight dot index. Then we said, you know, we give it a value of new flight, and we said flight HTML equals new flight dot format show. This one had to create its format show a little bit different, I think. Okay, so format show down here. So there's the format show, and even though it's almost similar, but quite different as well. As the one for the index was this one, it has a click button as well and an ID that we could use, whereas this does not have that. And it's the same process, repeat. We return that flight.html, and then we use it. There we go, new flight.format show. We assign it to flight HTML. And remember the DOM we wiped clean before, making it an empty string. We said new flight. You could put an append here, it would still be the same thing. But in this case, you know, it's HTML, and we say flight HTML, and we simply just pass in that flight HTML that we have in line 121 right in here. And hence, and we create a flight. That's what happens. So that's pretty much it. I know I went over this briefly because of time, hopefully make some sense to you. Again, this is the refactored version of Rails with the JavaScript Jet project. Okay, thank you.